What happens with most founders is they hire somebody to do marketing, but they don't have a playbook. They're not measuring anything. They're not driving demand. Your business right now is referral based. Hey there, everybody. I'm Dan Martell, serial entrepreneur, investor, and creator of SaaS Academy. In this episode, I'm going to share with you how to structure your marketing team to produce massive demand generation results. Okay, so if you have one marketer, two marketers, three, or a whole bunch, I'm going to show you the way I think about using an agile approach to designing a marketing team that can execute, implement, and most importantly, generate qualified leads. That is the name of the game in marketing. Be sure to stay to the end where I'm going to share with you my marketing team designer template. It's literally not only the list of different strategies that you can assign to people on how to design the org structure based on the philosophy I'm going to teach, but also the list of metrics that you want to be asking and reviewing with your marketing team to know that they're being effective. So let's get into this. So I love marketing. Marketing is one of my favorite departments because they tell stories. They use automation, so it's like my nerdy side. It's metrics driven, it's very quantitative, but it's also got some qualitative aspects to that. I've personally been involved in building dozens of different marketing teams focused on not only the PR, the brand side of things, but specifically the demand gen, the advertising, the direct response campaigns that really drive revenue. I've been responsible for generating close to $100 million worth of business through marketing strategy and campaigns. And it is different when you're at 10K a month in recurring revenue versus 100K, or when you're selling $1 million a month. The marketing team has to shift. And what I want to share with you is the philosophy of how to think about assigning certain things and hats to people and measuring the right process so that you don't, like what happens with most founders is they hire somebody to do marketing, but they don't have a playbook. And then the person starts doing stuff, but they're executing social media campaigns. Like they're not measuring anything. They're not driving demand. Your business right now is referral based. Go away from referral and organic traffic and it just whatever it happens by chance to happens by strategy, by tactic. And that is my approach. And that's what I'm going to double click on and give you everything I know around that topic so that you can design a marketing team that will be effective and productive, especially when you're investing dollars into generating opportunities. Number one, design the tactics. So what I've discovered is some people call things marketing that are really not marketing, okay? So there's this great analogy I'm going to share with you is, I'm going to try to remember it, but it's a circus comes to town, okay? And you put the sign on, you put the circus date that it's coming and you put it on a wooden sign and you stick it in the middle of an intersection. That's called advertising. You take the elephant and you let it loose in the, in the city and it creates a big problem. That's called public relations. You get the mayor to talk about it. That's called a different thing, right? You have the booth and you have a person going to the mall and they're convincing people to go to the circus and they're buying tickets. That's called sales, okay? And you have all these different things that you could do for the circus, and all of that will generate ticket sales. But that strategy, that's called marketing. And what I feel is some people confuse that word with the tactics. And to me, it's about designing the tactics to actually produce the results. So marketing is more than just, because you can't just hire an agency. People do this all the time. They hire an agency and they say like, generate leads for me on Facebook. That's interesting. And they can do that if you give them the strategy. So the marketing strategy is, what is our core customer? What is the problem we're solving for them? What's the message that we're going to lead with in the market? What are the assets involved in that communication stream? And then what channel are we going to go put that in to make the awareness of that, of the pain that we solve? And then you can give that to an agency to go run ads, okay? But where it always falls down is when people think that marketing and tactics are the same thing, and they're not. The tactics are individual. Marketing is the strategy, and if you don't have a strategy for who you sell to and how you communicate with them and build the infrastructure for automation and for monitoring stuff, then you're just gonna have somebody take over an activity and a tactic, and they're gonna fail because nobody owned the marketing strategy side of things. So that's number one. Number two is create the plan, okay? Create the plan. Here's what I mean by that. Marketing is not just a thing, it's the whole stack. So when I start working with a new coaching client, my private clients, I always do what's called a growth map. And we identify not only the message that we're going to put in to kind of get the person to become an opportunity, we also look at the channel we're going to put that message in. Then we're going to look at the conversion tool. How do we actually sell? Is it a trial? Is it a demo? Is it a proof of concept? And then if they don't buy, what is the follow-up structure? And that is the plan. That is a complete stack. If I know the channel I'm putting the message in, the message is going to get this person to respond, how I'm going to sell them and it's working, and then what do I do to follow up and it's working. If I can get all those four things green, then I actually have a complete plan. And what I see often in marketing world is people that, it's kind of like if I'm building a house, all they do is clear a lot, and then they start, getting some wood and start framing up walls. It's like, okay, you're gonna just frame up walls, and what you're gonna put this here? They're like, yeah. So like they launch Facebook ads, and they have no back end automation to get somebody scheduled. So they just like run some ads, get some leads, and then what? They like email the prospects. They try that. But then it doesn't work because there's not enough volume, and then there's not enough throughput, and it's slow, and the people that download it aren't hearing from anybody for weeks because the person's busy doing other stuff. And it's just such an interesting concept. So if you don't design the complete stack and plan, then your marketing strategy will not work. So it's not even just the tactic of what channel you're putting in and what you're going to use to get them to converse with you or respond to you. It's also what happens after the fact. And then if somebody doesn't buy, what's the follow-up? Because once you build that complete stack, then if you put 100 people in the top, how that's going to produce at the bottom. But I mean, I see people put 100 people in the top, and then only one person ends up at the bottom. It's not that you couldn't have got 10, but you didn't look at it through a complete funnel, and people are dropping off at different stages. Your sales calls were horrible. You didn't have follow-up. You didn't have a great conversion tool. You didn't have a great lead magnet. And essentially those 100 people turned into one instead of 10. And then you think, oh, this channel doesn't work. Facebook doesn't work for us. LinkedIn ads don't work for us. Twitter doesn't work for us. Going to events don't work for us. No, the strategy completely can work. Okay? Because if it didn't, people wouldn't do it. If you go to an event and there's a booth there and people are promoting their business, people wouldn't do that if it was ineffective. They wouldn't do that if it wastes money. You didn't figure it out because you didn't design the plan. You were building the house, you cleared the lot, and you just started framing up walls and thinking, this is how I build a house. Okay? You need the blueprint, you need to evaluate it, you need to get the engineering stamp done so the whole thing doesn't fall in on itself. So you need to design the plan. Number 3 is no measure, no growth. Okay? I can tell within 30 seconds of talking to any software founder that I coach the maturity of their marketing based on the ability for them to answer simple questions. How many leads you generate? What does those leads cost? How many of those convert to opportunities? What does that cost? What's the show rate? What's your conversion rate from sales calls, et cetera, et cetera. I can literally ask a handful of questions, and based on how they answer, I can tell. And it's little things, because if they say something like, oh, I think it's about 36 a month, I can just tell they don't really know. About 36 a month. These are data points that you should be measuring daily on the marketing team, weekly as a department, and definitely weekly as an executive leadership team. So if you're the founder and you can't specifically tell me how many leads, how much pipeline, what did it cost, then you don't know what's going on in the marketing department. And you think, well, I give that to somebody else. Aren't they supposed to run it? You're responsible for revenue generation. That is a core component of that engine, and you want to at least get on a weekly basis those numbers. So no measurement, no growth. I see this all the time. It's like if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So what happens is you have a marketing team that keeps coming up with the next great idea and the next great idea. I think we should do this. I think we should do an event. Let's go spend 40 grand producing an event. I think it's going to sell. It's like, well, what about the ads that we're currently running? How are those producing? Well, they didn't really work out. Let's just turn them off. Wait a second. Why are we turning them off? Tell me where it fell apart. What did you try to fix it? Did you actually give it 2 legit tries? No? Well, why don't, that's already running. We can make something work, something that's running that's not working, that's easier to fix than trying to start something from scratch. Or like, you know, I don't think our YouTube's converting. Well, again, what are the numbers? How many leads come from our YouTube channel? What do those leads do in a sales component point of view? Okay, it doesn't work right now because it doesn't have enough volume, but what if you 3x the volume? So the question is what could you do without spending any more money or time to 3x the volume of leads coming from YouTube? Oh, well, if you ask it that way, there's actually some really great answers. This is what I'm trying to share with you guys, is that the questions, once you measure, then you'll understand where the lack of growth is, and then you'll be able to ask questions of your team that will get them focused on solving the right problems. Right now, most marketing teams are playing a game of whack-a-mole. They're just like solving one problem, moving on to the next one. It creates another problem, solving on to the next one. I mean, it's everything from attribution to, I've seen literally companies, their revenue drop and they don't know why. And it's because they migrated platforms and some automation didn't get migrated. So all of a sudden the email nurture post appointment setting wasn't firing, or the SMS notifications, which is another huge. Go check out my YouTube channel and search SMS marketing or SMS advantage. You'll find a video where I do. Like, text messaging will increase your show rates by 30% and increase your sales. And if those notifications get turned off and nobody's paying attention and they just say, oh, it's not working anymore, let's go do a different channel, let's go do LinkedIn. This is where people, they not only have no growth, they just waste money. So no measurement, no growth. Number 4 is assign accountability. So within my organization, all of them, I have an accountability chart. In the accountability chart, every department has the department, it has the people. And on every one of those spots, we have the specific area of responsibility that they are responsible for, which tells everybody else on the team the decisions that they can make. And the reason you want this is because if somebody on your support team sees something go out on Twitter, they want to be able to go look at the accountability chart and send that to the right person, right? They don't want to send it to the marketing leader. He's busy with other stuff. You want to literally create an accountability chart that makes it absolutely foolproof to say who owns YouTube, who owns Facebook, who owns creating the content production schedule. Like, every major function in your business should have it tied to a name on the team, so that way the rest of the team knows who to contact if there's an issue, and the individual knows what the expectations should be for themselves. Like, what am I responsible for? That, to me, is one of the biggest opportunities of a marketing team, is getting just super clear on the accountability. If you own our private Facebook group, you own it. You own the production, you own the content, you own the community, you own the building it, you own the results of it. We invest in it. What are the results? What's the ROI? If we put a dollar amount to the investment every month, how many leads did it generate every month? That is the cost per lead. And it doesn't have to be scientific, it can be very high level, but then that person can start making better decisions around that based on the ownership level of that accountability. So assign accountability. So quick recap, 4 key strategies for building a world-class marketing demand gen team. Number 1 is decide the tactics. Number 2, design the plan, the full stack funnel plan. Number 3, no measure, no growth. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And number 4, assign accountability, the responsibility and the decisions, who owns them. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I want to share with you the Marketing Team Designer workbook. So essentially in there is a chart, and it's got all the different marketing tactics that you can execute. It gives you the opportunity to write the role and the areas of accountability and what tactics they're responsible for. Only one tactic per person. Sure, they can collaborate with other people on the team to get that done. And then I also have the key metrics that you should be monitoring for every marketing team. You can click the link below to download your copy. It's an exclusive resource just for you. If you want to learn how to design your marketing team, and there's a bunch of other stuff in the workbook, click the link below to download it with the metrics. And if you like this video, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments what was the most useful thing for you in your marketing team and your marketing efforts. Leave a comment below, let me know. And as per usual, I'm on challenge you to live a bigger life and a bigger business. I'll see you next Monday.